Welcome again. Thank you very much for attending our today's webinar. Today we're going to cover part two of our program from last program. Today we're going to talk about strategies to boost your bottom line in the changing economy. Things have gotten a little better. Most of my clients are saying the economy's picking up. Some of the jobs that were on hold for months are starting to getting rolling. Seems like there's more activity. It's still relatively flat. It depends which part of the country you're in. I've got clients in Florida that are booming. I got clients in the Midwest that are slow, and West Coast kind of tight, competitive marketplace. So depending on where you are and what you do, what you build, it's different. And so there's no right answer. So the question for you today is, what can we do to improve your bottom line? All right. So as we were talking about last session, we're talking about watch for shrinking profits. We tend to bid things at 20% and only make 15 or 15 and 5, or we tend to have profit shrinkage. So we got to continually do things that are making us improve our bottom line. We get so busy managing the minutia, we forget to focus on where the money's made. Most of us online here today are in the labor business. We don't focus on our labor. Labor's the key in change orders and contract management. That's where the money's made. Watching the work, eliminating callbacks, eliminating rework, hitting the sales budget with labor accuracy, bidding right. So that's what we really want to focus on today, is achieving our goals. So what do you think your top priorities are to maximize your markup potential? What are things we've got to really, really focus on? And the picture says it all. The picture says, we've got to get our labor on budget. Now, if you're a general contractor and don't have much labor, obviously we got to finish on time, no callbacks, get our change orders approved, all those kind of things. If you're a self-performing contractor with any amount of labor in equipment on your job sites, that's really the key, is labor. So that's what I want you to think about. What can I do to improve labor? You're in the labor business. Now, if you're a general, like I said, you're in the management business. You're in the subcontractor and specialty and material management business and customer management business. Okay, and so number two, you've got to have accurate estimates with no missed items and the right production rates. That's the key. You can't make money if you're missing things. And so I see a lot of contractors that have a lot of holes in their bids. They miss stuff. They use standard templates that don't have all the things that they know they're going to need. When you install cabinets, you're going to need a metal brace under the top, otherwise it's going to sag. And it's probably on the steel drawings, or it's on the architectural detail drawings and not on the steel drawings. So we're going to miss it. Bumper poles around the electric transformer pads, they're not showing up on the steel drawings or the site drawings. They're only on the electric drawings. Who's got those? So things like that add up. Add up. Instead of starting with a blank piece of paper, we've got to keep track of our missed items. And then we've got to track our production rates. We really got to know how many hours, crew hours, labor minutes it takes to produce things per square foot, per lineal foot. And if you're in Canada, per centimeter, millimeter, kilometer, whatever you're going for, right? So that's what I want you to think about. And so then we've got to really focus, like we said last workshop, the right jobs and the right customers who treat you fair, don't screw you down, and really allow you to build your job on time and on budget. And number four, we got to get paid. In order to do that, we got to follow the contract. We got to really know what the contract says, and we got to follow it to the letter, and you will get paid, or you will sue and win. If you don't follow the contract, you're never going to get paid exact amount that you want. For example, change orders. When we try to manage our change orders after the fact, they just don't get paid. So I want you to think about what I need to do and what I need to work on as a goal for today, this little workshop that we're doing here, right? So the question I want to ask is, how much markup do you want to make? Do you have profit? Do you know and track your numbers? Do you know your numbers every week? Where are you on all your jobs? If you don't, you're running blind. What else? Do you get financials and P&L and job cost reports on time from your accounting department? Does your accounting department have professional construction accounting management people, team? Do they know what they're doing? And if they don't, you need to invest at a little higher level to get a better reporting and on-time systems. You're the one who allows them to not turn their paperwork in on time. You allow it as the manager and leader of your company. The next item, number 3, you got to have those scorecards, a weekly job cost, labor, and equipment scorecards, productions every week on your desk. And you got to review them with your superintendents and your foreman so you can keep those jobs on budget. If you don't know the score, how are you going to know if you ever win or if you're ahead or behind? You've got to know the score. Next, you've got to have that professional accounting and team. So a lot of my clients, as they've grown, have hired or assigned a full-time job cost tracking person to keep track of job costs, because it's more important than everything else. Well, not everything, but pretty much everything else you do is staying on budget. And then you got to get the software and the financial systems all tuned up and running like a machine so that you can know how to make a profit, right? And if you are. All right. So what are your top priorities? What are your top priorities? As you sit here today, you're at this workshop for one reason, to figure out, make a higher markup. So what are your top business priorities? Where do you spend your time? What's your focus? What do you really zoned in on a regular daily basis? What are you doing to keep the elephant dancing? What are you doing? You spend all your time running around in circles, keeping the elephant dancing. You're not focused on the money. What do we got to do to focus on the money? That's what I want you to really focus in on. What are you doing to hit your financial targets and goals? Do you have financial targets and goals? When you start a job, a project, do you know exactly what your goal is financially for that job? Not finish on budget. Specifically measurable targets. We have so many hours, so many crew hours, labor hours, equipment hours. You have a clear picture. Are you sharing it with your superintendent, your foreman, and your leaders of your job? Do they know where they are? Do they know the score? So what are you doing about that? Do you have them? Do you track them? Do you know them? And then we got to hit the budget. We got to hit the budget. Whatever you bid at, hopefully it's accurate. You got to hit it. So what are we doing to make sure we hit it on a daily, regular, weekly basis? And profit margin fade. You can't have profit shrinkage. That's a bad word. I hate the word shrinkage. We got to have it grow, not shrink. And I don't care if it grows. I just want to hit the budget. If I hit the budget, I'm going to make a lot of money at the end of the year. So what are you doing about keeping on track on your budget? If you're not looking at those numbers every day and every week, you're going to lose money. It's really simple. Hit your budget. Do everything you can to hit your budget. It means you got to know where you are, right? And do you have budget tracking? Do you know? Do you track? Do your crew knows? Does your foreman know? Does everybody know what you're trying to do here? So as we think about our money, how do we win high margin work? Well, we talked about that last session, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on that today, but that's the key. Stop bidding cheap work against low bid competitors that don't know their numbers. It's a waste of time. If your bid hit ratio is more than 5, 6, 7 to 1, 8, 9, 10 up there, you're bidding the wrong jobs against the wrong players, you have no competitive edge, right? So you got to find better clients. All right, so here we go. So first of all, how much net profit do you want to make? I need to have a goal for the annual year. What's your goal? Do you have a written goal? I want to make $100,000. I want to have a taxable income net profit on my P&L of $350,000. Do you have a complete written measurable goal? Percentage you can't measure. I want a written amount. So how much money, a fixed amount, do you want to make? 2,000, fill in the blank year, whatever year you're in, or whatever next 6 months or 12 months, or from today forward, how much money do you want to make over the next 12 months? So what's your annual sales goal? Do you have an annual sales goal, a goal that you can track? That if you do it at the markup that you want to make, you'll hit your profit goal after you pay your overhead, of course. And so do you have an overhead goal? Do you know your overhead is not a percentage, it's a fixed amount of money. It's $500,000, it's $1 million, it's $5 million. Whatever it is, it's fixed. And then it's a percentage of whatever sales you bring in, but it's a fixed number. Do you know what your overhead you have to hit? And then what's your overhead and profit markup goal? Overhead is overhead, and markup is profit, net profit. So overhead plus net profit goal. So what's that amount of money? That's $1 million. And what percent, if we do 10 million, that's 10% gross profit, right? So that would be around 11%, 12% markup to hit your 10% net. All right. So what's your annual gross profit goal and what's your annual net profit goal? So it's a fixed amount of money. Each one of these are fixed, and you can convert them to percentages. The problem with percentages, as your sales go up and down, the percentages change on every job. So we have to know our fixed amount we have to cover, and then we can convert it to percentage that we're trying to obtain, right? So if we walk through a little pro forma, we start with our annual overhead. Your annual overhead, whatever it is, I'm going to use 2 million. That's for about a 10 to $30 million contractor, depending on what you do. So how much money do I want to make? I want to make a 50% return on overhead. So I want to make $1 million net profit. At the end of the year, I want to have a taxable income of $1 million after overhead, after my salary, after all the expenses for the company, after all the job costs, after all the subcontractor material, labor, equipment, et cetera. I want to have a net profit goal of 1 million. So that adds up to a $3 million total overhead and profit, gross profit goal of 3 million. Now, if my average markup, what I can make in the marketplace based on my competition, the availability of jobs, my customers I go after, the number of bidders, all those kinds of things. Let's just say my goal is 20% markup. So let's convert that to margin. 20% markup is 16.7% margin. So 20% divided by 1.2 is 16.7. So my margin is overhead 3 million divided by my sales. So I divide 3 million divided by 0.167, and it tells me I need to do 18 million in sales. So now I have a goal for the year. 2 million overhead, 1 million net profit, 18 million in sales. Those are my goals. So that's what I'm going to try to do at a 16.7 margin or 20% average markup. Now, I know some of your jobs are going to have a higher markup and some are going to have a lower, depending on size, competition, job type, etc. So don't use these numbers, but really you've got to blend it in. And if you want, I help a lot of contractors break that into, some of you do general contracting and concrete and framing. So we do 3 different budgets and add them together to come up with our total goal. If you're a drywall contractor who does T-bar ceiling, we'd break it into 2 parts because you probably get a higher markup on drywall than you would on T-bar ceiling, for example. So anyway, and then of course we want to know what our sales is. If we do 12 million at those numbers, we're going to break even. I just got an email this morning from one of my potential clients. He says, I did 7 million 2 years ago. I only did 2 million this year. Now I'm in the toilet. Well, duh, you didn't hit your sales goal. Well, why? I don't know. We haven't talked yet, but we got to figure out how to get your sale. You got to hit your sales at the margin, which means you just got to work harder in sales. And then, of course, we got to hit the margin, right? So we got to have a goal in order to improve. I mean, if you don't know what you're trying to do, I'm trying to get more markup. Well, what's our goal? We got to have a goal so we know when we get higher. So if we're looking at this page here and we want to make more money, we got 2 choices: more sales, higher margin, higher markup. So we have a choice. Get higher markup requires what? Higher productivity, no profit loss, hit every budget, no unpaid change orders, delay claims, proper labor costs, et cetera, et cetera. Productivity is the biggest part. And of course, or we can increase the sales. So it's up to you. How do you want to move forward as part of your improvement program to achieve your goals? So along the lines here, we've got to know, track, and manage our numbers. So you got a lot of people, we spend a lot of time managing our crew, but really we don't focus enough on the numbers, right? So we got to know our sales numbers every month, achieve versus the goal. If you do 12 million a year, that's $1 million a month. We better be hitting $1 million a month, and we better bill out at $1 million a month. So we need to know what our goals are per month, not per year. Excuse me. Then we have, in order to calculate that, we got to know our job cost every month, which includes where we are, cost to date, cost to complete, gross and net profits. So if I bid it at 20, I want to make sure I'm still on 20%. If we're half done, I should have spent half the money. So I need to know where I am every month. And I need to know my win ratio, my bid hit win ratio, how many jobs I bid to win. And that'll tell me how many jobs I need. So if we go back to the sheet, if our sales require 18 million, which is $1.5 million per month, and my average job size is $1 million, well, I gotta win 18 jobs. And if I get 1 out of 5 times 18, whatever that is, 50, 60, whatever, I gotta bid 4 jobs a month or 1 a week, et cetera. So now I know my bid hit win ratio. And then I can watch my sales goals versus the actual every month. I need to make sure my labor is on budget and stays on budget. So I've got a budget versus final, estimated budget versus final. A lot of P&Ls, I asked the guy, oh, did you hit your labor budget? And they say, no, I don't have a clue. Oh, I don't know. Well, why not? You're in the labor business. That's where you make or lose all your money. You need to track your labor. Is your labor on budget? Yes or no? At the end of the year, did you hit your labor budget? I don't know. Well, what are you, running blind? Come on, man. So equipment costs, same thing. Are you using your equipment? Is it sitting in the yard? Are you billing it out at the right rates? Utilization, return on investment. And then we've got to have those weekly job costs, labor and equipment scorecards. How we doing? How many hours per quantity? If we're supposed to pour 1,000 yards with 200 man hours, whatever that works out to, I need to know if I stayed on track, right? And the last item, I got to keep track of my money. Accounts receivable, accounts payable. A lot of companies will have a weekly AR meeting. All the PMs get together for 5 minutes. They go through all the accounts receivable, and they say, you call him, you call him, you call him. Let me know what's going on. Backlog, do we got enough backlog? Do we got enough cash? We got enough cash flow, line of credit, our equity? We need to keep track of those things. So I know you're in the construction business. You don't want to deal with money, but why are you in business? You're in business to make money, not build stuff. So I don't care what you build. I don't care if you build. I just care if you make money and how we're going to make it, right? That's the key. And I know it's not maybe your gift. Maybe you didn't get an A in math in high school or whatever, but it's why you're in business, okay? All right, so key to success. So I've got my book. It's available on Amazon. You can just type in my name in Amazon and pop up if you want to get it. And I've got all these formulas in there. You don't have to write them all down here, but most of this is in there. And it also comes with a template if you send me a note. All right, so biz builders, what do? Number one, they know what they want. So I kind of said, you got to know what you want. How much more markup do you want to make? Got to have a goal. We got to keep track. Once we know what we want, we can build a plan. So next thing we need is a plan. So what's your plan to improve your markup? And lastly, we got to keep track to see how we're doing. Always track, make progress towards what we want. So what do you want? So at the end of this session, I want you to sit down and think about what do you want to do? What do you want to improve and how much? Measurable goal. Then what's your plan to make it happen? And then we've got to have a tracking plan to make sure you stay on track and achieve your goals, right? So that's what the question. So as we sit here right now, why are we here? What do you want to improve? What do you need to fix? Is your markup too low? What do we need to do to get it higher? Where is it failing? Where is it shrinking? Where is it, the guy who emailed today, he says, we're not hitting our numbers. Well, why? We got to dig in. Why, is it bad bids? Is it bad crew? Bad supervision, no change orders approved. What is it? So we have profit margin fade. What do you want to improve? Just pick one. So let's get focused on it. We have jobs late, callbacks, rework, punch list, unpaid change orders. What's your issue? What do you want to work on? Let's just pick one and let's go. Let's get started. I'd love to help you with it. One-on-one, I'd love to do that. That's what I do. It's really fun for me. I just enjoy it. And not the negative, the positive, seeing you get better. How do we get your estimates accurate? Are you missing items? Are your production rates wrong? You're not tracking them enough? You're not doing a cost history library. Are you selling only low price to lowball jobs and too many bidders? No pre-qualifications? Maybe you don't have any loyal customers who give you a lot of work at nice prices. What's the problem here? Do you need a number two? You need someone to delegate to. You need someone to run your operations, maybe your project management, pre-construction, maybe your field, maybe your overall company, your supervisors, your crews, your foremen. What do you need? Need some help? Because you can't do it all yourself. You're stuck at the level of what you can do. Maybe you need do too much yourself. Maybe you need some help, right? Like I said. Maybe you need some software that gets integrated. Well, just because you buy it doesn't mean you're using it. We need to get it implemented and integrated. Or maybe you just don't know how to track your numbers. So whatever your problem is, what do you want to improve? That's what I want you to start with. And so the question is, what's your issue? What's your area to improve? So I'm gonna open it up real quick to questions. Anybody want to just throw out a question? Raise your hand and I'll let you talk. Right? Anybody want to start with a chat? Put it in the chat. You want to ask a question? Okay. So just tell me if you got a question. And let's just hit somebody. What's a problem you want to work on right now? Let's just talk about it. So type it in the chat or raise your hand under the participant button. So I got nobody volunteering, right? All right. Okay. Nobody? Well, I'm trying to open it up here, but nobody wants to be. Nobody. I don't see any hands raised. Come on, somebody. All right. Nobody? Okay. All right, I don't see anybody asking a question. All right, you're all bashful today. I don't know. Got quite a big crowd here. Not one person said anything. Okay, well, I'm going to move on then. So, Chad, don't be bashful. We can do them anytime. So anyway, I don't have any. Okay, I'll stop that. I'm going to move on then. So let's go here. Okay. All right, back to the program. All right, so to improve your bottom lines, you got to make some decisions. This is where I come in, helping clients. You got to make a decision. You got to commit that you're going to invest time and money to make your company better. It's not going to happen. You're not going to wish it to happen. You're not going to hope it happens. Hope is not a strategy. You got to be willing to commit time and money. You got to do something different. You got to invest in improvement. So you got to get some help. You can get a coach, a mentor, a peer group. You can meet with other contractors and talk about how to do things different. Talk to your CPA, talk to your, go to your association meeting, take some classes. What are you going to do? You got to do something. Otherwise, I ain't going to get better. Number three, what we're going to do is we're going to identify the things you want to fix. Issues, chaos, problems, challenges, repeat occurring things. What costs you the most money negatively? And we're going to identify the top 3, 4, 5, and we're going to start working on them. And part of the problem might be your team, your poor performers, your talent. We're going to look at your talent. Do you have the right TEV, talent, experience, and people who live within your core values and are dedicated and committed to make your company better? And themselves. Maybe it's you need a vision. Where do I want to be in 5 years? A 5-year plan, an exit succession plan. Maybe you need a plan to build your future. What do we and we need to prioritize it. What do we need to work on first? And we need a financial plan, kind of like we just went through. We need to have that. And what size jobs we bid, and where do we make the most money, and how are we going to track it? We need an org chart, a talent plan for growth, not for current, for growth. So you allow you to grow. So we want to hire better people, and we want to have clear job descriptions and meetings so we can hold people accountable. And we need systems, strategies, systems. We need a playbook. If you don't have that, it's really hard to build a company. And of course, we got to go out and sell. That guy who sent me an email this morning, he says, well, I need a sales team. No, you need to go out and sell. Nobody's going to buy from your company. They buy from you. He's the owner. A small company. Now, I understand bigger company, you need salespeople. But a small company, the principal, the owner, I mean, I was the number one sales guy up to 50 million in sales. The guy who's trusted in the community is the guy people want to deal with, not some sales guy they know they're never going to see again. So we got to have a plan to go out and sell. Unless you're selling low price. Now, low price, you don't need much sales, just be cheap. But if you want to build better customers and better jobs, you got to get out of your chair. And so what are your must-dos? So here's a list, and I don't know if you like it or not. I'm just going to give, I got a couple lists here, something for you to think about. We got to have a business plan. You have a clear business plan with vision and values. You can't make more money if you don't have a plan. You got to have a hiring and talent development program. Hire, delegate, promote, eliminate, replace with job descriptions. You got to know your numbers. We got to meet with our bookkeeper every week and go through everything. And once a month, we go with our management team. Number 4, we got to get out and sell. Follow up your bids. Don't just call and say, how do I look? Well, cut your price, you look better. Number 5, you got to have systems that are implemented, no exceptions for good old Joe who's been with you 40 years and really shouldn't work for you, but unfortunately he's a relative, right? 6, we got to have those scorecards every week, and we put incentives on them. If you hit the budget, you make more money for the crew leaders. Number 7, we got to go out and walk the jobs with a list of things. So once a week, I got to go out, me or my project manager, my supervisor, someone's got to go out and hit the jobs. I got to look at the budget versus actual on production, percent complete. I got to look at my schedule, my look-ahead schedule. I got to do a punch list, quality control, and a safety inspection. I got to focus on the 5 things, 6 things that make me money every week. I can't just hope it happens. I got to hold my team accountable to perform. Someone has to, measure but verify. Trust but verify. I got to have regular meetings. So when we start a job, I have to have a turnover meeting where we turn over from estimating, project management, and crew leaders. So they know the goal, they know the budget, and then every month and every week, we got to update the job cost. Number 9, I got to have accurate estimates and change order management. Ran out of room, so I put it all in one line. Aggressive change order management. We don't do anything without a signature. And number 10, I got to meet everybody who reports directly to me. I got to meet with them one-on-one every week. Managers must meet with their reports one-on-one every week so I can hold them accountable. So accountability is a big problem. We did a workshop on that a few months ago, so you could check that out on my YouTube. It's right there, how to hold people accountable. So that's just a big, broad list, not a bunch of how-tos, just kind of big picture stuff. Think about it. Pick 1 or 2, jot it down, and let's get going. Let's get started on it. So where to start? What costs you the most money? Where are you losing the most money? Where do you need to get a higher margin? Is it sales or is it job cost? And so your business, let's look at your business for a minute. You got a lot of things going, a lot of stuff moving around, a lot of things happening. It's like a 3-ring circus. It's really hard to manage a 3-ring circus and watch the money at the same time. You're juggling, you're getting shot out of a cannon, you're walking a tightrope, you're doing all sorts of crazy stuff. You're working with clowns and monkeys and everything else, and you're trying to tame your lions and tigers and try to coordinate an elephant team and all sorts of stuff, right? But we're really trying to get everybody working like a machine on the same page. So we need good systems. So I'm not going to take a lot of time talking about systems today. We need to have standardized systems that everybody uses on a regular basis, no exceptions. I come into companies and do you have systems? Yeah. Anybody use them? No. Well, what's the point? Either use them or you don't. Use them or lose them. I mean, like football. Like when you're junior high, you go out and you just play flag football or whatever. You play touch football with your friend. You go right, you go left, and it's a mess. Get to high school, you get to college, you got plays, you got a playbook. We study the playbook. We show it on films. We get everybody doing it the same way, so we don't lose the game, right? And so we got to have systems. We got to get people together. You got to take time to create systems and track goals for those systems. And we got to have regular meetings and training. What are you doing about it? And you got to have a playbook, and you got to have a scoreboard, and we got to keep track so that everybody must know exactly what's expected, how we do things, what the goals are, what's the targets. If we don't have clear systems and strategies and training and goals, it's a free-for-all. You're going to lose a lot of money. So, quarterbacks, you gotta know where to throw, right? So players need clear picture, written expectations, tracked, monitored, enforced, accountable for, to get people to do it the same way. Here we are out pouring concrete or out working on rebar, a change order. Someone's got to supervise the people to do it the way you want to do it, and they need to be trained to do it right. So someone's got to hold people accountable. That's you. What are you doing about letting people out? Oh, I just can't hold people accountable. It's so hard. No, the reason it's hard because they don't know what you want, because you don't have it written and trained. It's not because it's hard. It's not hard if they know exactly what you want and you meet and monitor with them every week to go over how we're doing. It's pretty simple. You're not managing the people, you're managing the systems and the results. And so number one, you need detailed systems, job descriptions. Enforced is the key. You either do them or you don't work here. That's part of your TEV, values. You follow the rules. Number two, you got to have clear, measurable results. Work your hardest is not a measurable result. Achieve 500 linear foot per day is a measurable result. Who's accountable to do what? So for the project manager, I want all the subcontracts let within the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks of the job. I want a mandatory pre-jobs walkthrough with the customer. I want a mandatory job start checklist. I want a mandatory change order process. We don't do any work without a signed change order, et cetera, et cetera. Those are specific responsibilities with deadlines. I want a weekly look ahead schedule every Friday in the office. So I want the superintendent or foreman to do it every Friday and email it, send it through your software, your job project management software. I want it in the office every day Friday. There's no exceptions. That's the deadline. And then on Monday, I can review it. Number four, I got to have a clear chain of command. I go to companies, I say, who's in charge of what? I don't know. It's like hands are going every which way. Who's in charge? The PM, the project manager, supervisor, foreman, crew leader, crew assistant, worker. How does it work? Well, we just always call the boss, the owner. Well, that's not chain of command. So now the owner's in charge of everybody, has 42 reports. What's the chain of command? People have to have a clear understanding of how it works. This is a tough one. A lot of companies don't want to give up. There's 2 people in charge. Well, that never works. We got to have levels of authority. At what level can they make decisions without checking with the boss? Is it $1,000? Is it $500? Is it $5 million? What is it? Do they have a clear understanding that they have the authority to go to Home Depot and buy up to $100 to replace a tool? Or do they have to call the office every time for 5 cents? And then number 6, manager's role is to meet with them on a weekly basis, your employees, your talent, your direct reports, and hold them accountable and monitor their progress and see how they're doing on their results that are expected. Okay? So just like in football, everybody's got a playbook. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do. And if I want to make higher margins, I got to have the right people in the right positions, of course. So you probably have some wrong people in the wrong places that shouldn't work for you. And they got to have the right talent, experience, attitude for the current and the future needs, because you want to grow. You don't want to stay stuck where you are. So I'm going to make sure you have the right people, which will allow the company to grow and move to the next level. So number 1, I got a developer hire. Number 2, this is personally, if you're the owner or the president, you need a number 2 and you need an executive assistant, full-time. Both of those. Now, they don't have to be you need somebody who works for you directly, and you need a number 2 in charge of half the business. It might be the operations. Who's going to be your number 2 so you don't have to manage everybody as well as sell? Most of you on the call here are probably assigned with a lot of get work. So if you're getting work, you can't manage the work, right? So let's build for the future. And you need someone to help you with all the small stuff that you have to do on a regular basis. You don't want to just try to be cheap and do $20 an hour work. And number two, you need a strong estimator, strong project manager, and a strong field manager who can run it without you telling them what to do every 5 minutes. Now, as you grow, you need vice presidents and a team and all that. But I'm just saying at 5 to 10 to 20 million in sales, it's kind of what we need. We need someone. And then the estimator can become we hire a strong estimator, they can become the pre-construction manager and manage estimating and pre-construction. If you hire a good PM, they can become operations manager. If you have a good superintendent, they can become general superintendent or general field manager, right? So we want to hire and plan for the future. Okay. So let's get into some must-dos. Talent development. So we gotta focus and only hire the best players and their top dollar. I can't be trying to save money with people. You gotta hire the best and pay the best and dump the rest. Simple. Number two, we gotta get rid of the C players, the slugs, bad attitude, slow, always a problem. And then you gotta hire and train. Right? Number three, you got to get your number two. You got to find them. If you don't have one, you got to hire for that position down the road and promote them to number two. You can't wait. What are you waiting for? Let's go. Number four, you got to get a helper, executive assistant. Number five, you got to pay top dollar. If you don't pay top dollar, and you got to provide incentives. Everybody needs an incentive, whether it's a job cost tracking incentive or a profit incentive for the company. Everybody needs incentives. I help a lot of clients, create their PIP, profit improvement program, profit incentive program, and it's mandatory. You got to hold people accountable. This is a weakness. I see a lot of contractors who are too wimpy to hold people accountable. Well, it's hard. Well, quit whining and just do it. They work for you. You don't work for them, and you kind of got it backwards sometimes. And we got to stop solving other people's problems. When they bring you a problem, you say, well, what do you think you ought to do? And go fix it. So we got to let go a little bit, and we got to enforce those systems and meet weekly with direct reports. Okay, so those are must-dos. If you don't do that, you're never going to make more money. Okay? People. Notice, people. Systems. Okay? Simple. Got it? All right. So how do we get motivation? There's my favorite coach who just went over to the Las Vegas team. So the president, what's your role? So I just like to watch the good coaches and the great people in the world, and what do they do? The leaders. Number one, the head coach is the visionary leader. They're not the visionary doer. They're the leader. They're the motivator. They're the manager. They're the overseer. They're the CAO, Chief Accountability Officer. They make sure all the things are done. Hold people accountable. They enforce, CEO, Chief Enforcement Officer. They're the CIO, Chief Improvement Officer. They're really focused on improving and enforcing. And they're the motivation officer. They got to motivate. Got to make people want to do it. And they got to remind people to continually do it. I know it's a pain, but you're the CRO. Can't tell them once and hope they remember. You got to tell them every week. Sales, you're the chief sales officer. Generally, the top dog is the chief meat generator, right? Talent, you're the guy in charge of making sure we got the right talent, or the gal. And of course, chief delegation officer. So think about your role. Notice on this list, it doesn't say chief project manager, chief estimator, chief doer. It's chief enforcement, improvement, motivation, reminder, sales, talent, delegate, accountability, visionary. That's what you got to do. If you focus on that and delegate the rest, but oversee it and make sure it's happening, you will make a lot more money. All right, so let's get into some practical ideas here. So first of all, this is kind of how we run our business. First of all, we calculate accurate estimates with accurate production rates based on past jobs. That means we have a cost history library of costs through our software or yellow pad and pen. I don't care. So we don't guess, we don't fluff, we don't pad our bids. Our goal is accuracy within 1 or 2% of labor and material. Subs, you should be 100%. You shouldn't miss anything with your subcontractors and suppliers. So then once we get a good estimate, we have a startup. We start the job, we have a meeting, we set the budget, labor, equipment, material, and subs. We set the crew hour goals, we set the time cards, the change order rates. We get it ready for success. So we get it all set up. Then we go build. And while we're building, we update the job costs on a regular basis every week. The PM approves the time cards, the cost codes, the quantities, material, and equipment. And we do a job cost update every week. And every week we review the costs with the PM, the general superintendent, the superintendent, and the foreman. And every month we see how much more do we have to finish? Are we on budget? So we do a complete job review every month. That goes into our accounting work in progress WIP schedule. Then, of course, when we're done, we review. We have a review. We review the estimate, project management, the supervision, the cost, estimate versus final. And then if we have to make some adjustments because we went over or under, we adjust our cost history and our bid rates, our production rates, so we'll get it right the next time. So that's the profit builder circle. That's how you make money. It's a circle of life. And if we don't focus on this, if we never get around to the job cost or job review, I got a lot of contractors are pretty good, but they always lose money. I said, do you review job costs at the end of the job? Well, we never get around to it. Well, you're too busy working to make any money. This means you're not focused on the majors, which is the money. You're focused on the minors, which is, what kind of coffee should we buy? And, I can't believe the guy spent too much gas. Jeez, come on. All right, so what do we do about our people? We got to know our construction money, labor. We already went through most of this. Revenue, profit, sales, bid hit, bids. So we've got to know the budget. Okay, we got to manage our costs. I want to take more time on that. We got to manage our money. So we got to have a budget. We got to know how much money we have. You go to Vegas, you know how much money you have. You're not going to spend more than you got or else you're broke, right? They'll throw you in jail. So we got to keep track of our money. So we start with a budget. We set up a budget. So here's a typical budget for general and self-performed concrete. So we set a budget. So we have our job meeting. We bid. Our bids are bid. Now we're going to set a budget. So here's our budget. We go down line by line, we create a budget. So notice we've increased our overhead and profit line 2,000, 42 grand. So we've gone through the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we notice that we think we can make an additional 42 grand. So that becomes our job budget, not our accounting budget, and not our billing budget. And then what are we going to do? We come up with an action plan. What are we going to do to achieve our budget? No callbacks, faster, buyout, improve, no punch list, better sub, miss something, I got to add more money, discount, etc. So we can make an additional 4%. So that's what we do. We sit down and make a goal, and then we track it, right? Duh, we got to have a goal to hit. You don't have a goal, nothing matters. Any completed budget is good enough if you don't have a goal. All right. So then we do a monthly job cost report. Now, I'm not going to walk you through the whole thing, but every month we know where we are. So at the end of the job, we know where we are, estimated final cost versus the budget. You can see we think we're over budget 15 grand as of this example. Not good. So where did we lose it? Well, you can see we lost $4,000 on plaster. We lost, we spent $14,000 more on concrete. We're way over budget on concrete. Plaster, actually, you're okay, but it's mostly on concrete. Supervision's way over. Why? We're slow, slugs. So anyway, we gotta fix these problems. That's where you start. Where did we lose money? What happened here? It looked like electrical's got a problem. It looks like the schedule's a big part of it. And then concrete, we went way over on concrete. We didn't bid it right. All right. So then we got to look at our team. What do we got to do to improve our team? So what we have to do is make sure everybody on the team knows the goal. So, we got to have the right team with a good attitude and good experience and the right strategy and the right game plan. And then we have to have a playbook. We have to have our systems, right? So we need a lot of things. We need systems. You need to monitor and enforce them, as I said, and we need to update those scorecards. So it's pretty obvious what we need to do. I don't know what you need to do, but think about what should be on your improvement plan to fix your markup, right? So lots of things. Team meetings, we need to have a weekly meeting. Let them know where we are. You can't just basketball game. We'll let you know where the score is at the end of the game. No, we got to have a weekly update. We've got to see the score. So we have weekly meetings. We tell them where we are and where we need to be. And then we have management meetings, financial meetings, which we mentioned earlier, right? Okay, so if I'm playing golf, like number 7 at Pebble Beach, one of my really fun holes, there I am trying to get it on the green and short hole, but it's beautiful. So I need a scoreboard. I need to know what par is, and I need to keep score. Basketball, you need to keep score. Notice every player, we know how many shots they made and how many they missed. So everybody knows where they are, not just the team, everybody. And we have plays, we have playbooks, we call timeouts, we make adjustments, we have meetings, we tell everybody what's going on, and we realize without a score, there's no winner. So we got to have a scorecard. That's huge. You want to make more money? The best thing I do to help people is put in a scorecard system where they can see where they are, and then they do an incentive plan to increase their bottom line. If people know they're going to make a little money if they hit the goal, so we pay if you hit the goal, and if you improve the goal, you get even more. So that's the key. That works every time. It's hard to implement, but once it's in, man, you'll never go back, right? So the scorecard looks sort of like this. We have all of our costs and budget on the left side in the white, and then the yellow in the middle is our crew hours, the budget. So we have 1,030 hours. And then every week we update it, quantity installed or percent complete versus the budget. And then we know what our budget should be, how many hours to date, and how many we've used, and we know if we're over or under budget. So then we sit down with the team and we say, look, we're a little bit over on forming. What can we do to get that back on track? You're about 1/3 done. You're already about 27 hours over, which translates to about 60 when we're done. So what can we do to get back on budget? What can we do? Our embeds are way over. Are we okay there? What's going on? We can't have this job. I mean, this is a small job. We don't want to lose $2,000 on a $10,000 job, right? So what do we have to do? So we put in an incentive program to make them achieve their goals. There we are having a little group meeting out in one of my tilt-up jobs from years ago. And there we are. I always had a great incentive program, and that works really, really well for your crew. And so, oh, by the way, I just thought I'd throw this in here. I'm going to start a wealth builder succession system for your future, try to help you generate a plan for the future, whether you're going to exit, whether you're going to turn it over to your employees, your kids, and help you generate wealth for your future. So if you're interested in the wealth builder succession system or exit plan, let me know, and we'll talk about a strategy for that. Okay. All right. Construction. Let me just stop for a minute and see any questions now. Anybody have a question? There's chat, no chats. I don't see any questions from anybody I can help you with one-on-one. Raise your hand. Talk. Anybody? Okay, we got a quiet group today, which is fine. I'll just keep cranking along here, okay? All right. Give me another second. Nope. Okay. Keep going here. Okay, construction. Here's some thoughts. Project management systems. You got to have them. On budget. You got to focus on budget, time, and safety. Weekly job cost update. Estimates. These are just big picture. Job cost reports. Scorecards. These are must-dos. I mean, you got to do this. You got to manage your equipment. So let's look at how we can do little things one-on-one. So first of all, we must have a pre-job turnover meeting where we sit down with the crew or the foreman and the supervisor and the project manager, and we say, here's our goal. Here's our goal. Here's what we're aiming at. Here's our budget. So we have a turnover meeting. I've helped a lot of guys create their agenda for that meeting, depending on what kind of work you do. We have to have a meeting with the customer when we start. We lay out our job. We lay out our goals. We go over the contract. We talk about change orders, how we're going to get them approved. We won't start unless it's in writing. How we're going to bill. We talk about our billing. We talk about issues. What happens if we hit something? We have a complete review of the meeting. How we're going to do punch list. How much time we have left. How many hours we have in our budget for their job. Do we have overtime? Yes or no? If you stop us, we have delay clause. We're going to ask for a time extension at so much a day extension. If you ask us to move from one side of the job to the other, that's an extra move-in cost. So we're going to have a very detailed startup meeting with our customer. We're going to make sure they understand the contract. We're going to job walk the project weekly with the superintendent and foreman. We're going to have a startup meeting with the subcontractors or suppliers, major suppliers. Number 6, we're going to do a weekly punch list, weekly. And we're going to send it out to all the subcontractors and suppliers, and we'll make sure it's completed within a week. We're going to ask for the foreman or the superintendent to do a weekly 2 to 4 week look ahead schedule. We're going to do no change orders without approval in advance of a notice to proceed. And we're going to do no overtime without prior approval. So these are just simple rules that we put in to eliminate potential cost problems. 1 through 8. There's another 54 of them I could go over, but I don't have time. So we're going to have the pre-meeting with the customer. And we're going to explain the contract, the deadlines, the payments, change orders, the rates, the terms, the schedule, the time, the delays, and the cost escalation and material availability. All right. So then we're going to document all the claims within 1 to 2 days. We're going to make sure we cover our butt with a change order. We're going to write it now, when, and we're going to, and remember, no notice, no nothing. We're not, if it's not in writing, it never happened. So think about how we're going to manage our change orders. Then we're going to document now. Prior to starting the work, no freebies. We're not going to give money away. We're not going to do any trade-offs. No free work. We're going to charge exactly what the contract allows. Most subcontractors and contractors I see their change order request just says crew. They forget about the tools, the ladders, the scaffold, the temporary facilities that are out there. You got to charge for all that. They're slowing you down for a day. You got to get all that stuff. It's not free. Wheelbarrows are not free. They're not part of the labor rate. They need to be part of your cost. So we're going to give them a detailed cost breakdown, tool rates, skill saw, power tools, ladders, pumps, equipment, move-ins, general conditions, cost per day, et cetera, for all of our, and overtime's extra. So we're going to have all that, and we're going to mark it up and put our insurance on there and our bond. All right. So field. What are some field systems we can focus on? So these are just general rules that I have, and you don't have to follow them. Number 1, I want at least 3 bids per trade. 3 is kind of low, including material suppliers. A lot of us tend to get the same supplier on every job, and you end up, the price just keeps creeping up because it's good old Joe over there. You like him. So you're not getting the best prices you can. It's hard work to get more proposal. I know you like Acme concrete supplier, Acme electrical supplier, but let's get 1 or 2 more and you're going to make more money. I used to give my estimators an incentive. If you get 3 or 4 bids per trade, we'll give you a bonus. So I'd slap my $100 or $200 at the end of every bid based on how many bids they got. Trust me, they tried to get more bids. I want to make sure my equipment is 75% billed every day. Utilization. And if it's not, I'm going to sell it and lease when I need. Saves me a lot of money. Number 3, I want to mark up my markup. So when I put in a change order request, I've got my subtotal, I got my overhead markup, subtotal, I got my insurance markup, subtotal, I got my profit markup, total. It makes me an extra 1 or 2%. Number 4, I'm going to have that turnover meeting, pre-con handoff meeting. Number 5, I'm going to follow the contract. So I got to make sure I really read it. I got to know my scope, obviously, and I got to order all materials and subcontracts within 2 to 3 weeks of job start. I don't want any delays because I forgot to order something. And some things takes 12, 16 weeks just for shop drawing approval. I want to have those pre-job and customer job meetings regular, whatever works for you, but not never. And and then I want my crews to meet every week. All right. I have agenda for them and they turn it in. All right. So that's some winning field things. What else? Must do's to boost your markup. So I got to enforce my systems, got to train them and enforce them. I got to have the meeting, monthly job cost update, crew production scorecard, job walk every week, change order management. This is a big one. Number 7, I want someone to go to the job before I tell my client I'm going to send the crew tomorrow. They call and say, we're ready. You say, you ready? Yeah, we're ready. And you show up and say, they're not. There's stuff in the way. Someone must visit the job before I'll schedule the crew. That saves me a lot of money. Number 8, I want to have a job walk with a customer and get a sign off before our crew leaves. I know y'all crews, you want them to get to the next job, but then they have to come back to finish what they left. I'll never forget one of the guys on the call here. He was driving me around his jobs, and he's in the concrete and masonry business and rebar. And he says, I want to show you this job. It looks really good. And we got there, and there's a pile of masonry crapola on the corner of the site, and there's his mixer. I don't know, you probably remember who it is here, JT. And it's kind of, oh, God, I didn't know that was still there. Well, so somebody now got to go back, which costs some money, right? And I got to meet with my direct report every week. Okay, those are musts, right? So that weekly job walk, we're going to do that every week with the superintendent, the project manager, the foreman. And I'm going to have regular meetings. I'm going to meet with my assistant. I'm going to meet with my estimator, finance and accounting, foreman, superintendent, quarterly team meetings, and of course, et cetera. All right, so we're going to do a look ahead schedule every week. We're going to do a look ahead schedule, but it's mandatory. The foreman, oh, the foreman can't do it. No, tell them it's mandatory, and you're going to put things on there that they always forget, like rebar, dowels, tie wire, sand, visqueen, more lumber, nails. You're going to put that on there. We don't want to have to go to Home Depot 6 times a week, right? And we're going to do a weekly punch list, cleanup and safety inspection every week. And we're going to send it out to everybody and tell them when it needs to get done by. And we're going to tell them if they don't do it by a certain date, we'll do it. We'll do it for you gladly if it costs plus 200%. Okay? And they go, oh, okay, we'll do it. And a weekly inspection report, safety and quality, right? So we're going to have a checklist for the startup so we don't forget stuff. Nothing worse than sending your crew 40 miles and they forgot stuff. We're going to keep track of the uncharged extra free work performed log. So when we negotiate with our customers on change orders, we're going to say, look at all the free stuff. You got to pay us for this one. And then, of course, any pending issues, of course. So what are some reducers? Indirect crew, what reduces profit? Production. No goals, no scorecards. Number 1. Number 2, no system standards or job description. These are in order of results. Bad boss, bad supervisor, idiot, jerk, nasty, disrespectful. Nobody wants to work for an idiot. Number 4, we allow poor performers. We tolerate poor performers, people who disrupt, cause problems. No teamwork, bad attitudes, and lastly, no plan. No plan's big. So those are the things that wipe out our profit. Any of those you need to work on? And then, so poor production equals poor profits. So if you got 20 workers, let's say $60 is your cost, $10 for equipment and whatever, $70 an hour. You got 20 guys, it's $2.8 million a year. If you lose 30 minutes a day, you just lost 175 grand. You just improved your markup by 175 grand if you don't let them lose 30 minutes a day. So what can you do to get your team to not lose 30 minutes a day? You know they're losing about 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, right? walking around, walking to the toilet, smoking, chasing their dog, whatever they're doing, right? Showing up late, leaving early. 30 minutes, 0.0625 of the 40 hours. That's a big number. You know, there's 2% if you do around 9 million. Squish the schedule. We make a goal to improve the schedule. We just improve the schedule 10%. That's not much. 100 days is 10 days. Most schedules just go with the flow. They don't really focus on hitting the goal. So what can we do? We save 6 minutes an hour, 10%. 2,000,008, 280, 400 grand. That's if you got general conditions. 280,000 just on equipment and labor, plus another 160 on general conditions, trailers, toilets, fences. 400,000 a year. You just got to focus on saving money, save time. What can you do to save 6 minutes? A few minutes an hour. The average contractor crew only works effectively about 3.2 hours per day. How do we get 6 more minutes an hour out of them? It's not that hard. What can you do? How about you have one guy show up at 6, lay out all the tools and equipment. So when the crew gets there at 7, they start at 7. Well, you have a little 5-minute meeting, you start. And then at 3:30, the crew goes home, leaves their stuff everywhere. Some guy stays an extra hour and cleans it all up and rolls up all the tools. So you save 10 guys wasting time. One guy overtime. Boom. That just saved you a ton of money. Toilets. It's in power. You know, we wait for the GC. We need more power. Well, we're not giving it to you. So we add another $1,500 a month to your whole company. That's like, what is that? 6 toilets anywhere on any job or power poles or whatever. And you save 30 minutes a day. They don't have to walk so far. You put more out there. You provide them. And you write your name on it. This is our toilet. A-team only. So you just saved $132,000 after you bought the toilets. I mean, it's so simple. So tools, you got some broken tools, they're limping along, they don't want to tell you their tools are old and broken. Have a nice trailer full of the tools, all organized and systemized. You upgrade, you trash your old ones, buy new ones, 75 grand. You save 5 minutes an hour. You save 175 minus the tools, 100 grand you just save by putting all brand new tools in and all good tools and have a tool organization system. There's just so many ways to save a little bit of money. So here's a site, the toilet's way over on the bottom left or the top right. Just add another one right next to where your crew's working. That's where you save money. Have them put another tip box, power box, or bring up a generator. Put it right next to where your crew's working. Don't have them string cords all the way across the place. Every time they go to the bathroom, if it's over there, they got to, it's 10 minutes back and forth, 10 minutes back and forth. It's crazy. And your crew's going to go 3 times a day and whatever. That's a lot of work. Wasted. Visit the job site before you send the crew. I want you out there 2 weeks in advance and 1 day in advance. I want a weekly punch list. I want a look-ahead schedule. I want a worker to set up the job early and close out the job daily. Daily cleanup. Daily, weekly tool and trailer inventory. No smoking, no cell phones, mandatory, no exceptions. You don't work here. I call it the McDonald's rule. If you can't do it at McDonald's, you can't do it out here. You make $40 an hour, McDonald's makes 20. You ought to be able to be a little more professional. Get sign off prior to moving the crew off. Hey, are we done? Walk the job, take a video, take pictures. Okay, we're done. So they can't say you scratched something, you punched a hole in the wall. You can prove that you didn't do it. No overtime without approval. And foreman, absolute, never leaves the job site. To go to Home Depot. So if they got to go, they send somebody. And if they're on the tractor digging the ditch, everybody's standing around watching them. Their job is to supervise and manage, not do most of the work. Okay. So what results do you want? That's the question. What results do you want? So think about, we invested an hour here today, hour and 10 minutes. What results do you want? What do you want to improve? What markup margins do you want to make better? What are you willing to invest? What do you want to work on first? What's your top priority? So I want to grow. So what do I have to do? I need a plan. I want to increase my net profit by 3%. Okay, what do I have to do? There's several options. Where do we start? What's the highest and easiest thing to fix first? I want to get my bid hit win ratio higher, improve it from up to a third or 25% or something like that. What do I have to do? I have to spend more time on what? I have to add more customers. Okay, that's fine. Let's do that. What do I have to do? I have to think differently, right? I have to get a stronger management team that can take me to the future. Can't do it myself. What do I have to do? I have to hire number two, a PM, a super, a couple foremen, a crew. What do I have to do? I need a talent development plan. I need a hiring and people plan. What am I doing to make my people want to work for me and bring their friends along with me? Am I building an environment that attracts and retains the best people? How do I improve my field productivity by 5-10%? Usually your labor, if you're a self-performed contractor, is about a third of your business. You improved it 10%. That's 3% of your total. 3% additional profit will hit your bottom line with about a 10% improvement. Well, what can you do to get that 6 minutes a day, which is, there's 60 minutes times 8, 480, 10% is 48 hours, 48 minutes a day improvement. What can you do? Bunch of little things, right? We got to implement that job cost tracking. We got to get our estimating accuracy within 1 or 2%, not plus or minus 5. We don't want any fade. And we got to get some systems in place. So as we sit here right now, what are you going to do? Just think about where we start. If you need some help, that's why I'm here. That's what I do. I help you. So I'd love to help you. I'd love to get on the phone with you, see if I can help you work on a PIP program, profit improvement program, and see about getting you to the next level of profit. And then we'll work on sales and getting your company organized so someday you can retire, right? So anyway, all right. So what are your priorities? What are we going to do first, second, third? Where do we start? If you don't start, you got a list. You got to start. Pick one. Let's get started. Not wait till tomorrow. What are you going to do this afternoon to make it better? Over the last couple of weeks, I've been working on improving some things in my business, and I've went online and got some consultants to help me. I've got implementation meetings with them set up for today, tomorrow, and I'm going to get going. It's going to cost money. It's going to cost time, but for me, summer's coming. I got a little free time. I'm going to make it happen. I want to get better. Even at my age and my situation, I'm driven to get better. How about you? You driven to get better, but don't do anything about it? Well, that's not driven. That's like accepting reality. Okay, so what do I have to do? So pick your top improvements. What are you going to work on first to improve your margin and improve your customer retention and customer development, people development, systems, money, all the things. What are they? We got to rank them and then start. Let's get started, right? So you got to, in order to start something, what are you going to stop doing? So you got to stop doing something and delegate, let go. So part of the starting is stopping. You can't do more. You're already busy. What are you going to not do so you can start doing? That's the question. Okay. So I'm here to help. If I can ever help you, let me know. I've got a marketing and estimating and sales workshop next month. I'll send you all the information. I'm going to charge for it a little bit, but it's a 2-hour meeting. You get all my templates. So the templates alone usually are about 100 and something bucks. So I'm charging, I don't know, $70 or something for this. Anyway, you'll see it on my newsletter. Okay, what else? So I've got this new plan. If you're interested, succession plan, building, exit plan, transfer plan, increase your margins, wealth and freedom, including real estate, whatever you want to do. I'm glad to work with you. I'd love to do it. And of course, I can help you one-on-one. Just give me a call and we'll set up a time to just explore how I can help. And of course, you can always get my templates online. My templates are available. You just go to my website and click on there. If you want the discount code, send me a note and I'll send you the discount.